And now, at last, the most important of all pieces of evidence, the one that is really a good one to convince people. We're going to be sharing with you guys. If you are emotionally charged to the idea that Bitcoin must remain without a face, or that the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto must never be found, this video is not for you. If you hate the fact that Greg Wright, or you hate Greg Wright for claiming to be Satoshi Nakamoto, this video is not for you. The intention of this video is not to convert you. The intention of this video is to share with you guys why I came to believe on the possibility that Greg Wright is indeed Satoshi Nakamoto. So let's start with the video that began this whole thing.
My name is Craig Wright, and I'm about to demonstrate a signing of a message with the public key that is associated with the first transaction ever done on Bitcoin.
In this video, he's signing a message with a public key that everyone believed to belong to Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, we need to take a few things into consideration. One of them is that no one is seeing the screen of the computer. Second is this reporter may not be equipped to understand what that means. Most people are not equipped to that. But there is one person who we know for sure had communicated on a chat for a long period of time with Satoshi Nakamoto, and Greg Wright has proven to that person with the same way that he demonstrated in this video. Let's look at that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I wasn't asked why I'm convinced Craig is Satoshi. I posted on Reddit. He signed in my presence using the private key from block number one, the very first mined Bitcoin block, on a computer that I'm convinced had not been tampered with, on software I'm convinced that had not been tampered with. A message of my choosing. And so that kind of sealed the deal for me.
Now, the person we just saw happens to be Gavin Anderson. And Gavin Anderson was a developer of Bitcoin. And after all, when Gavin went to see or speak with the CIA, Satoshi abandoned the project and left on the hand of Gavin Anderson. So Gavin Anderson is not just anyone. He's someone who spoke with Satoshi and managed to earn enough trust of Satoshi so that the project was left under his responsibility. Gavin Anderson was left with the final product of Bitcoin. Now, let's go back to the video that started the whole thing, because there's something else on that video, another hint towards the end.
Why now? Why have you decided to identify yourself as Satoshi Nakamoto?
I didn't decide. I had people decide this matter for me. And they're making life difficult, not for me, but my friends, my family, my staff. I have staff here in London. I have staff overseas. And they want to be private. They don't want all of this to affect them. And I don't want any of them to be impacted by this.
So now, towards the end of the video, he made a claim that he did not decide that by himself. Someone decided that for him, and he came forward because he did not want to feel the pressure, or the pressure of him, possibly in Satoshi Nakamoto, affecting his staff, his family members, and his friends. Now, I'm not going to share with you evidence that his staff got under pressure, but I will share with you enough evidence that he brought a spotlight on him. He started to act in a way that he could possibly be Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, I'm not sure how long you have been in the crypto space, but one thing I know, at that time, there was a big fuss of who was Satoshi Nakamoto. Even the wrong Satoshi Nakamoto got arrested, Dorian Nakamoto. And when that happened, Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever he may be, posted on a message saying that Dorian was not Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, the reason why the police went after Dorian is because there was a big fuss in finding out who was Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, I want to share with you what he was doing and how that pressure came to him. Now, as you can see on this video, this was shot on the 10th of July, 2014, 1.5 years before December 8th, when the video came out of Greg Wright claiming to be Satoshi Nakamoto. Let's see what happened here.
My name's Craig Wright. I've been involved with cryptography for most of my life, way back from cypherpunk days, etc. My background is security and forensics primarily, but also did law and a few other things. I've been involved with Bitcoin for quite a number of years now, mainly as a researcher. I'm on and off sort of involved with Charles Sturt and other universities. I study, I research, I write papers occasionally, and basically work on weird and wacky things. I study, I research, I write papers occasionally, and basically work on weird and wacky things.
So to me, that expression on his face, that smirk on his face saying, I write papers, gives me a hint. But there's a few more things that happen. So let's continue watching the video.
Did you buy any?
I've bought and sold many Bitcoins, yes.
What was the price when you came in?
When I first came in, there wasn't a price.
Now, as you can see, he mentioned that he has been in Bitcoin for several years. That was 2014. He also said that he sold and bought many Bitcoin. And when asked about the price, he said when he came in, there wasn't a price. Now, he's going to start to speak in a way that I believe to be very knowledgeable about what Bitcoin is. He mentions a lot of things. I'm going to pause and explain to you guys what he's talking about.
So you go and talk about it. All right, let's say a little bit about Bitcoin in the future, what it is. What is Bitcoin? What is Bitcoin?
Bitcoin is basically the future of everything. I'm not talking money, I'm talking everything. It comes from the idea of merging a number of cryptographic protocols with a 2005 published idea of a triple entry ledger. What that enables is a way and means of creating not only smart currency, but
by smart currency, he's talking about smart contracts, which we now have on Ethereum.
A means of tracking and registering anything that can exist.
Tracking and registering everything we have now. NFTs and, for instance, Chainlink is one cryptocurrency that tracks the supply chain of things.
That's anything from IDs, reputation,
IDs, NFTs,
people. It's everything from ownership of digital property rights,
tokenization, which we're seeing that happening now,
micropayments associated with
Lightning, which is now happening on the Bitcoin blockchain,
those, charging, assurance contracts,
DeFi, which we now have since 2018, 2017.
Anything you can think of, anything that we have now and more. It's a way of advertising, marketing. It's a way of cleaning up the planet.
So as we saw, he was talking about things that we did not know was possible in Bitcoin, and that was 2014. And the creation of Ethereum became because people thought that was not possible in Bitcoin in 2014, Ethereum created in 2015, and today we already know that everything that can be done in Ethereum pretty much can be done in Bitcoin. Now, he mentioned NFTs, he mentioned tracking of supply chain, he talked about smart currency or smart contracts, things that a lot of people, again, believed could only be happening in Ethereum. Now, the video I'm going to share with you now is a debate between him and Nick Szabo, and that video was after the creation of Ethereum. And once again, he's going to bring to the table the possibility that things can happen on Bitcoin without the need of Ethereum. Let's go for that video.
How is it that you feel about, obviously it's a peer-to-peer currency and protocol that you don't want government involvement in?
I'm not, I mean, that's looking at it too small. Obviously, unfortunately, not many people seem to have knowledge of assembly code or forth or anything like that anymore. And I listened to one of Nick's earlier talks, and he was talking about the limitations. But in machine code, there's none of these limitations. And in fact, we have a rather rich instruction set in Bitcoin. It's just not well defined yet. And then the next part is we have Ethereum going out there saying we need to build a new stack because we can't loop. But no one seems to realize that Forth actually does loop. You have to use a separate control stack. It's not like a lot of code forms where you actually have a single stack. Forth and Forth-like languages use a dual stack architecture. So everything that we're talking about in derived contracts can actually be done directly in Bitcoin.
So once again, this is very technical, but he's saying that there's no need for a creation of Ethereum. Everything that Ethereum is trying to do, it could be done on Bitcoin with the code of Bitcoin. Now, look at the reply from Nick Szabo.
It's just going to take time for people to understand it.
Since you mentioned Nick, then I'm going to allow him to respond to that. You need your microphone though, so or the water.
No, I have not heard that opinion before. I've never heard anybody call the Bitcoin script Turing complete. I don't believe that's accurate.
He just said you're wrong.
The difference is the script itself isn't. What you can do is you have in Forth a control loop. So the looping function is separate to the actual loop, the script itself.
Yeah, I mean, that's an esoteric thing. If it's not Turing complete, then it's not a general purpose language like Ethereum, regardless of
but that would
that
assume
partial
that the only way of actually
type of
writing code would be to do it directly in a script that runs on the machine.
Okay, do you have another option?
Well, this would be a good topic for you to write a paper on, because that's certainly an unconventional view you have.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but Joseph asked for the microphone. Let's listen to Joseph now.
And Joseph, did you want to comment to that as well, since you're a computer scientist?
Since you're talking about Twitter and additional opcodes, this is something that Garzik commented on, I believe,
Jeff Garzik?
a day or two ago, saying that a new opcode could be possibly done that would allow Turing complete to be done within Bitcoin.
The videos I share with you guys until now are videos that were shot before him claiming to be Satoshi Nakamoto. Now I want to share with you guys another video, but before that, let's talk about Joseph. Joseph on this table is someone who thought that Greg Wright was correct. But as you can see, the level of certainty when Greg Wright spoke about everything being possible on Bitcoin without Ethereum. At that time, nobody knew if he was right or wrong. Nick Szabo, which is a person that a lot of people believe could be Satoshi Nakamoto, did not agree with Greg Wright. But time is our friend, and we now know today that everything Greg Wright affirmed on that panel on that day, it is true today and is already happening on Bitcoin today. Now, another thing I want to address is the fact that a lot of people say that he signed the message and he did not make the transaction. And we are using this as an accusation that he's not Satoshi because we're putting ourselves on his shoes. I want to share with you his view where he says why he doesn't do that. By the way, if this video is adding value to you, please subscribe to the channel. Now, let's look at the video of Greg Wright.
Did you actually read the post? Yes. Then obviously you didn't get it. Yeah, and I never said anything other than the Sartre bit. Did you actually know what Sartre said? If I sign Nobel Prize winner, I am not the same.
Now, he's mentioning Sartre. Sartre is the only person who has refused to receive a Nobel Prize. And Satoshi Nakamoto seems to have some similarities, at least in values, with Sartre, where he's refusing to prove to the entire world that he is Satoshi Nakamoto. He's doing that in private, not in a public manner. And here's a little bit more why he's doing that.
There is no fucking king. There is no glorious leader. One thing I will do, yes, someone got it right. I am here to kill off Satoshi. Not in the way that you want, because there is not going to be some great leader standing above. It is not going to be what Core tried to do with Nick. There is not going to be one person that we come and answer to. It will be the best ideas, the best solutions. Not because you think they're the best, because the market does. And the market votes with their dollars. And eventually, the market is going to vote with their bloody bitcoins.
Now, the reason I'm sharing this footage with you is because here we can see that Greg Wright may have a different standard or different values than most people. Most people believe that he has to make a transaction and make known to the entire world beyond any doubt that he is Satoshi Nakamoto. And you can see here that he has similar values to Sartre. Now, if you don't know who Sartre is the only person on the history of Nobel Prize who refused to receive a Nobel Prize. Now, what he's saying here is he doesn't want to be known as Satoshi Nakamoto indisputably because he does not want to be a leader, someone that people look at. He wants to be known for his ideas and things that he do, and that's why he's building BSV, Bitcoin Satoshi Vision. He wants the market to decide if his ideas are good or not, and not some titles such as I am beyond a doubt Satoshi Nakamoto, which I believe is a very good argument, especially if you consider that people are different and they have different values. Okay, so here we have 120 pages of emails written by Satoshi Nakamoto with Martin Malmi. Now, here we have it, an email which was written on Thursday, February 4th, 2010. And we can see that towards the end, I highlight for you guys the word check. Now, the word check is spelled in British English or the Queen's English. So this email suggests that Satoshi Nakamoto does not speak American English. He actually speaks British English or the Queen's English. Okay, fine. There are several countries that speaks British English. But what if there's other words, other vocabulary that points to the fact that Satoshi Nakamoto is indeed Australian? Let's look at that. Another email here, I highlight for you guys the word bash. Yes, bash is used in UK, but what if there's a region that uses bashes more than any other region? Now, when you put that word on Google Trend, you can see bash, you can see the search, but look at this. The country where they search that most happens to be Australia. Maybe because Australia use that word more than any other country. It's just one word. What if there's more? I'm not going to show to you all words. I just want to show a few. Let's show two more. Another email here, Monday 9th, November 2009, Satoshi Nakamoto. He used the word bogged, British English. But what if bogged is also a word that is mostly used in Australia? If you have here, Google Trends, bogged, and Australia is on number 1. Another word, and then I'm going to move to another piece of evidence. So here, another email, the word galore. Now, galore is British English. However, where is that word most used? We can see here on Google Trend is Australia. And second and third place are places that don't even speak English. You can see here Serbia and Croatia. So to me, by looking at those messages, I can tell that Satoshi Nakamoto is very likely to be Australian. Greg Wright is Australian. Now, I want to share with you guys just one more piece of evidence, and then I'm going to wrap this video. And now, at last, the most important of all pieces of evidence, the one that is really a good one to convince people. We're going to be sharing with you guys a meeting, minutes of a meeting that have occurred in 2007 on a company called BDO. In that meeting, Greg Wright and another person were part of that meeting, and they made a decision on what would happen on their project, and they have a timeline. Let's go to that document. So here we have the minutes of a meeting that occurred on BDO on the date of August 2007 at 9:15 a.m. Now, the venue was Alan Cromer's room. Now, there were two attendees to that meeting, A. Granger and Mr. C. Wright. Now, they also decide to take an action plan. And you can see here, finish code, action to be taken by C, which means Greg Wright. Finish, POC, also to be taken by C, Greg Wright. And POC is proof of concept. Then they have another plan, which is to set a time chain action to have a peer-to-peer electronic cash as paper and write a paper by C, August 2008. Now let's look at this. Bitcoin peer-to-peer electronic cash system. So you can see here, peer-to-peer electronic cash system is the same as here, peer-to-peer electronic cash. Now, back to the white paper, as you can see here, Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Guess what? Imagine who owns this white paper. There's a website called www.bitcoin.org. Now guess what? This website can no longer display the white paper. Why is that? It's because Greg Wright owns the copyright for the white paper. Look at this. Cobra can't fight a $700K Greg Wright legal appeal. You can see here, after Cobra was no show in court, a judge ordered the white paper to be taken down. Why was that? It's because Wright served legal papers on Cobra April 2021 over the copyright of Bitcoin white paper. So you can see here that Greg Wright owns the copyright to the white paper. And if you want to find out more about the document I just showed you for the minutes of the meeting, feel free to visit this website, drgregwright.org. Now, remember, I'm not here to convert anyone. You believe whatever you want to believe. I just want to share with you guys a few things that I have seen that led me to believe that Greg Wright can possibly be Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, I'm making this video also as a reply to my first video because I received a lot of commentaries. These are the evidence that I have. These are the things that I have seen. Please let me know your thoughts and what you have to back your opinion on the comments below. This is it for now. Remember, if this video added value to you, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and see you guys in the next video.